In this show, we explore the strange, mysterious, and sometimes unsettling things in life. We ask questions in the hope of getting answers and taking you on a journey. Today we're going to start with one of the most intriguing topics in recent astronomy history, 3I Atlas. This interstellar object has fascinated scientists and space enthusiasts for months since its discovery. So is it a giant iceberg, a natural comet, or something that could potentially point to an alien civilization? Yesterday, NASA finally did a live stream showing off new images that attempt to answer that fundamental question. Their conclusion: it's a comet. What happens next, however, will challenge everything you think you know about this mysterious object. Stay tuned, because what happens next will blow your mind. If you are fascinated by the mystery of 3I Atlas and want to see more amazing cosmic stories, hit that like button and let the universe know you are watching. Every click helps keep the search for the unknown going. Comment below and let me know where you are watching this from. I want to see where in the world is witnessing this with me. We're always looking for any traces of extraterrestrial life. Just a few months ago, scientific teams announced what they believe are traces of ancient life on Mars, clues sent back from rovers that have been quietly exploring the red planet for 3 decades. It's not just a scientific journey, but also an attempt to answer humanity's biggest question: are we alone in the universe? If confirmed, the discovery would mark a historic moment in human understanding. But 3I Atlas tells a different story. As an interstellar comet, it has captured the attention of scientists around the world with a series of strange and unusual signals. Harvard University Professor Avi Loeb has spent months analyzing the object and has identified at least 12 unexplained anomalies around 3I Atlas. These details have led the research community to wonder if there is something beyond our familiar natural framework. In light of the new developments from NASA, Professor Loeb commented that the event needs to be closely monitored because 3I Atlas's anomalies could challenge our current understanding of interstellar objects and suggest bolder hypotheses about what's, or even who, might be present in the vastness of space that humanity still does not fully understand. When asked by NASA before the announcement of the event what he expected from Professor Loeb, he was straightforward in his response, that he did not expect too much news. According to him, NASA will most likely just repeat the familiar statement that 3I Atlas is simply a natural comet, and that the lengthy data processing is a direct result of the recent government shutdown. His prediction of the new images is not much different from what Hubble has recorded: a faint ball of light drifting silently through space, like countless other celestial objects. He added that he still hoped for something unexpected, but in the end, he was not surprised at all. And as expected, what was released was just a collection of images from various NASA missions, along with a limited amount of spectroscopic data. Most of these images were blurry and did not provide many clues about the physical properties of 3I Atlas. While some new details emerged on a small scale, they were completely insufficient to resolve the 12 anomalies that Professor Loeb pointed out. More notably, the report also did not address the larger puzzles surrounding the questions about 3I Atlas that Professor Loeb said NASA seemed to be avoiding or not ready to face. This has fueled further speculation about whether 3I Atlas is really just a comet, or whether it has the characteristics of an object impacted by an unknown force that current astrophysics cannot explain. Some observers have even questioned whether NASA has released all the data, or whether something is being held back for internal verification. With the anomalies still unresolved, bold theories continue to emerge from the possibility that 3I Atlas is the remnant of failed extraterrestrial technology to the hypothesis that it is an automated observation station of an alien civilization secretly monitoring our solar system. The scientific community is divided between skepticism and optimism, but all agree that the newly released data is not enough to close the story. Instead, it opens up many important questions that will require researchers to continue monitoring, analyzing, and waiting for further observations. No one dares to confirm anything, but it is clear that 3I Atlas remains one of the most mysterious objects to have passed through near-Earth space, and the debate may only just begin. Professor Loeb notes that the available data suggests that 3I Atlas possesses two remarkable features that NASA seems to be avoiding mentioning, despite being able to determine the full nature of this object. First, its size and mass far exceed any interstellar object ever recorded. Based on current estimates, 3I Atlas's diameter is so large that its mass is thought to be 1,000,000 times larger than Oumuamua and 1,000 times larger than 2I Borisov. With matter so scarce in interstellar space, a fundamental question arises if the existence of small objects like Oumuamua or Borisov is so rare. Why have we not observed 1,000,000 Oumuamua or 1,000 Borisov before the appearance of a giant object like 3I Atlas? This is a remarkable paradox, but NASA has not mentioned it at all. Not only that, but 3I Atlas's orbit also surprisingly aligns with the ecliptic, the plane in which all the planets in the solar system orbit. Coincidence? Perhaps. But it's exactly the kind of orbit that makes 3I Atlas a perfect observation target for all of NASA's major telescopes. What's strange is that despite being one of the most prominent anomalies, official reports have made no mention of the rarity or potential consequences of this alignment. NASA's neglect of these basic questions has fueled speculation, not only in the scientific community, but also in the global political, economic, and military spheres. Some analysts have suggested that if 3I Atlas is indeed not a natural object, then major powers may be secretly competing to gain an advantage in deciphering it. If it is some kind of artificial structure or derived from extraterrestrial technology, the first country to obtain the data could have an unimaginable military advantage. This has led to rumors that some countries are secretly sharing or even withholding important observational data before releasing it. Many also believe that 3I Atlas could impact commercial space programs, satellite advantage, or reshape the balance of power in the space resource industry. An object of this size moving in the precise orbital plane of the solar system could be associated with the kind of strategic flight path that other civilizations, if they exist, would have to use for navigation or observation. Some conspiracy theorists have even gone so far as to question whether 3I Atlas's orbit is being tuned to attract human attention. If so, it could be more than just a random drifting object, but a survey signal, or worse, a form of surveillance. We don't yet understand. All of this puts 3I Atlas at the center of a debate that is not only scientific, but also involves behind-the-scenes calculations by major nations. While the anomalies remain unexplained, 3I Atlas remains the most mysterious interstellar object ever observed, and the intense speculation surrounding it is unlikely to end anytime soon. Professor Loeb argues that the core problem lies in the way NASA and some parts of the scientific community have approached 3I Atlas. They seem too eager to label it as rare but familiar, as if it were just another variant of known comets, rather than acknowledge its inexplicable properties. Reports have tried to make it seem like everything is in a safe, unsurprising mold. What he hopes is that NASA will be upfront about the fact that while we understand comets in the solar system, well, 3I Atlas has properties that are beyond our current understanding, and therefore an incredibly exciting subject for future research. He argues that only by acknowledging the limits of knowledge can science truly progress. What puzzles him is why scientists are so reluctant to say, there are things we can't explain. Some experts say this stems from a culture of scientific caution where any uncertain statement could be misunderstood, attacked, or unintentionally fuel conspiracy theories. But that avoidance makes the public more suspicious, as if there's something lurking behind the reassuring statements. Independent analysis also suggests that there may be pressure from interests outside of science. In an increasingly competitive space environment, the recognition of an interstellar object with unusual characteristics could have major strategic consequences. If 3 Atlas does indeed possess strange structures, materials, or signals that suggest an unnatural origin, its data would immediately become a subject of interest for military and high-tech intelligence agencies. At that point, disclosure would become a sensitive issue, possibly even sparking a race to control all observational data related to the object. Some of the more daring conspiracy theories suggest that major nations are secretly vying for the right to analyze 3I Atlas. If it contains previously unknown materials, or worse, remnants of extraterrestrial technology, deciphering it could provide economic and military advantages far beyond any known mineral or technology. That would give nations an incentive to break the hold or cover up information to protect their own interests. Some even question whether 3I Atlas is an accidental stray object, or whether it is being deliberately steered into orbit to get closer to our solar system and observe us. It is this silence in the face of these anomalies that makes 3I Atlas all the more suspicious, an object that straddles the line between the familiar and the unnameable. And when science fails to provide definitive answers, any information gaps are immediately filled with speculation, debate, and even political ambition. 3I Atlas is thus more than just a comet. It has become the center of a story where scientific prowess and mystery collide, making it increasingly one of the most fascinating and puzzling interstellar objects ever recorded by humanity. One of the most striking details that Avi Loeb mentioned was the strange behavior of Comet 3I Atlas's tail. What surprised many observers, including ordinary people, was that the comet's tail kept changing position, sometimes appearing in front, sometimes moving behind, sometimes very visible, sometimes disappearing completely. This is not the kind of change that is usually seen in ordinary comets, which follow the steady laws of solar wind and radiation. In early July and August, a reverse tail appeared, pointing in the opposite direction to the normal tail. NASA later explained that the tail development was only observed for a very short time in September. And then by October 31, Atlas completely disappeared from view. As the object passed close to the sun, images were taken that surprisingly showed both the tail and the reverse tail appearing at the same time, creating a rare and unusual structure. Theoretically, comet tails can form when dust or gas becomes ionized and is blown away by the solar wind. Some have suggested that 3I Atlas's tail might be an ion tail, which makes sense. But what's more surprising is the pattern of motion. 3 Atlas's tail changes direction so quickly, so dynamically, and in ways that are hard to explain by purely natural mechanisms. This anomaly has given rise to a number of bold hypotheses. Some experts suspect that 3I Atlas's tail may be responding to an energy source other than the sun, or even some form of propulsion. Some have further speculated that the inverted tail may be a technical sign similar to the exhaust of a spacefaring system. While there is no hard evidence to support these theories, the unusual nature of the tail has led many to question whether the 3I Atlas is actually a natural object. Some have even speculated that the inverted tail only appears when the object changes modes of operation, similar to how a device changes state. When accelerating or adjusting direction, these inexplicable occurrences are turning 3I Atlas into a hotbed of debate, where the line between paranormal science and conspiracy theories is blurring, and as more data is collected, the story surrounding this interstellar object seems to become more mysterious and intriguing. Sun-facing tails and unusual jet streams continue to plunge 3I Atlas into a world of mystery and inexplicability. An amateur astronomer has captured images showing jets of material shooting out as far as 1,000,000 kilometers, and in one photo, there are 7 separate jet streams. What's strange is that the jets are straight and precise, with no blurring or drifting, even though 3I Atlas is said to rotate on its axis every 16 hours. Naturally, such a rotation would cause the jets to wobble or drift slightly over time, but that's not what's happening. This unusual stability makes the phenomenon even harder to explain using conventional comet models. Some argue that this is simply a rare physical phenomenon, while others question whether there is an unknown mechanism behind it. No one is claiming that this is a sign of technology or artificial dynamics, but there are clearly things about 3I Atlas that current science cannot explain. Rather than insisting that everything is familiar, many believe it is necessary to honestly admit that this interstellar object still holds mysteries that are worth further exploration. The conversation turned to the UAP in light of the upcoming documentary, The Age of Revelation. While it's not expected to be released for a few more weeks, it's actually being released tomorrow and delves into the role of the government and what's being kept secret in the UAP files. Asked about the current climate of UAP discussions as the United States enters the second term of the Trump administration, the expert said, "The extent of progress depends entirely on the key question of whether the government has significant information that the public is not aware of. If the answer is yes, the coming months could bring more transparency that will help us better understand the nature of these phenomena." Some lawmakers, like Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, are still working to move the process forward, including by protecting whistleblowers so they can come forward with national security facts without fear of retaliation. However, the opposite scenario is also possible. It is possible that what was recovered from the crash sites was actually technology developed by rival nations. In that case, the fabrication of the alien technology story could be a cover-up by intelligence agencies to hide the extent of the U.S.'s knowledge of its rivals' military capabilities. This is a tactic not unprecedented in history, in which misinformation or ambiguity is used to protect strategic advantage. The geopolitical context adds to the tension as the United States is stepping up its space surveillance programs, expanding the budget for the U.S. Space Force, and increasing its activities in low Earth orbit as part of its strategy to compete for global influence. UAP in this context is not only a scientific topic, but also directly related to territorial security, airspace control, and technological superiority that Washington has always considered important. This leads to the biggest question of whether the UAP incidents are just a cover for a high-tech arms race between the superpowers, or if they're actually vehicles built by extraterrestrial civilizations and recovered from outside the solar system. The expert admits that he has not had access to any classified data, so he cannot draw any conclusions. That lack of certainty, however, leaves room for speculation. An expectation between pressure from the U.S., Congress for transparency from the Pentagon, and growing public attention, the Age of Revelation could be the catalyst for a major change. The coming months could shape the future of the entire UAP debate in the U.S., whether the final answer takes us to man-made technology or to something much further than space. The expert believes that no matter how long efforts to hide or conceal information last, the truth will eventually come out. No government or organization can hide an interplanetary event forever. If there are strange materials, technologies, or artificial objects between the stars, they will be discovered sooner or later because humanity's observational capabilities are expanding at an unprecedented rate. He likens this to the story of history. The Vatican tried to deny that the earth revolves around the sun, but eventually had to admit that Galileo was right and apologize. Any attempt to delay the truth is ultimately just a delay. When asked if humanity could discover intelligent life beyond Earth, he confidently answered yes. He said it would be arrogant to think that human civilization was the only technological pinnacle in the vast universe. The mission of science is not to maintain complacency, but to open new avenues of exploration, including the search for microbes and traces of technology. However, NASA is currently spending the majority of its budget on the search for microbial life, while ignoring the equally important branch of the search for technological artifacts or signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. When discussing the direction scientists should take, especially in light of the controversial observations from 3I Atlas, he emphasized that the most important thing is to expand the mental data set. Just as an AI system is only as smart as the variety of data it is trained on, astronomers need to be trained to see things beyond comets and icebergs. There are about 100 billion stars in the Milky Way, and 10% of them have an Earth-sized planet. With such a large population, it is reasonable to expect that there are technological artifacts that are more advanced than anything humans have created. In his metaphor, if you only include comets in your training data set, astronomers will continue to call everything a comet. But if you add in samples of technological objects, traces of human-made engineering, people will have a chance to recognize something beyond the familiar pattern. It is a call to change our mindset, to broaden our horizons and boldly step out of our comfort zones. Only then will humanity be able to recognize the signs of interstellar technology that we may have overlooked many times, but missed because we did not know what we were looking for. The question of when we will finally get a definitive answer about 3I Atlas is becoming a hot topic, as the unusual sequence of events surrounding the object has caused it to deviate from the normal comet model. The answer is being cautiously but hopefully determined on December 19, when 3I Atlas will make its closest approach to Earth. This is considered to be the only and best opportunity for humanity to directly and comprehensively observe all the characteristics of this mysterious interstellar object. On that day, a massive network of observers will officially come online. Most of the ground-based telescopes in the Northern Hemisphere will be pointed at 3I Atlas, while Hubble and James Webb, two of humanity's most advanced instruments will add data from infrared spectra and many other wavelength ranges. The information gathered is expected to far exceed all data accumulated since 3I Atlas was discovered. From the structure of the tail and antitail, the rate at which its orbit changes, the material ejected, to signals that may hint at its internal structure, all will be the subject of detailed analysis. Many experts believe that in just a few days around December 19, humanity will have collected more data than all known data on Oumuamua and Borisov. Combined, this will be the scientific basis for determining whether 3I Atlas is a strange comet, an unrecorded natural object, or even something technological, as many bold rumors have suggested. But along with the excitement of the discovery, many observers are also in a state of anxiety. The upcoming holiday season probably shouldn't come with such a gift from the cosmos. December 19th has not only attracted the attention of the astronomical community, but many private observatories and commercial aerospace companies in the United States have also announced their participation in the tracking campaign. This makes it one of the most closely watched events in the history of interstellar object observations. Some scientists call this the 3I Atlas golden moment, because after this point, we will have enough basis to draw big conclusions and end or start new debates. Whether the final results are reliable or surprising, December 19th is approaching a potential milestone in the history of space exploration. It could confirm that 3I Atlas is an anomaly in nature, but it also opens a whole new chapter in how we understand interstellar objects. And more broadly, our place in the universe